The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Monday.
Is it really? Oh, no.
Beginning of another week in the Rev.
Well, you know, for people who read the Weekend Flush, it started a tirade. This weekend's Weekend Flush was dedicated solely to that abomination, that abortion known as the proposed new Fall River Charter. And it has raised ire and discontent amongst the masses. And some people took offense at the fact that I called Mike Mioza, Chris Bartley, John Sylvia, the charter commissioners, Goebbels propagandists. I said that they're trying to create a government that is like the Salazar regime.
Oh, my God.
I think people could understand Salazar better than me saying the Nazi regime.
That is, I think you said that, too.
I think I did, too.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, you know, that's so politically incorrect. That's why I like it. So, but
I'm not saying that I'm going to be politically correct. Here's the problem with this charter. Let's be realistic. It creates a mayoral-centric charter. Mayoral-centric. That means the mayor is the center of the entire government. He serves on any commission, board, you name it, he serves on it. He serves on those boards. He appoints those same people. Tell me that's not an intimidation tactic at best by sitting there.
Well, the irony of the whole thing is we've had people for so long in this city complain about our charter because the mayor is too strong. And these people come up with a charter that makes them even stronger. As a matter of fact, forget about the mayor. The people are completely eliminated from any decisions with this charter. The fact is that if the mayor doesn't dictate what happens, the city council does. The people are taken out of the equation. The fact is, how ridiculous can this be? How much of an affront to this nation that says this is a government by the consent of the governed. It's a government by, of, and for the people. And they put in a charter, which, by the way, is not what we voted for, because I voted for a charter revision, for them to look it over, tweak it a little bit, and then we'd continue the process. And they chucked the whole charter. You like that alliteration? Chuck the charter. Okay.
That's amazing.
Okay, but and they gave us a whole new one, which we didn't want. And the new one is an abomination because they've virtually made it impossible for the citizens to recall anybody. Recall petition has to initially get signatures from every ward, then it's going to go before a corporation council. What corporation council is going to rule that a charter, that a recall petition is going to be okay with him when you're trying to recall his boss? But who's paying him $92,000? But I got to get this in, CJ.
Go ahead, get it in.
And then to show their utter disregard for the people, they just told the people, screw you. We're going to make sure you'll never ever get one of our ticks out of office. Then they turn around in that same charter and say that 7 city councilors can remove a mayor.
Exactly.
The people can't, but 7 city councilors can. So that means if the city council president decides that, hey, let's get rid of this mayor, maybe I think it's time for me to run for mayor. So I get a couple of my buddies. I got elected by 8-1. I got enough people to throw this guy out. Then they were tied up in court for 1 million years, you know, about this because they're going to say there was no just cause. It's a joke. This charter is an absolute joke. And as I said from the get-go, there's only one way to fix this. vote it down.
Exactly.
Vote it down.
No question about it.
Better to deal with the devil we got than this thing, because this thing absolutely, and we'll go over it at length, we're going to have shows on it, because this charter is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Talk about removing the people from government. This charter removes the people in every facet. They don't even want you to run. They're going to get some poor guy that's working 3 jobs and wants to get on a city council because he might have a couple of good ideas, or ideas that are precipitated because he knows what it is to work for a living and pay all these fees and taxes. Well, you got to get 300 signatures, buddy. Now, the political hacks can do that. They got 300 people that they gave jobs to. So all they do is take their nomination papers to all the people they gave jobs to and their families, and they've got the signatures in 5 minutes. Now, in between your job at McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's, try to get 300 signatures. Or as one of the commissioners actually said, this is not verbatim, I'm not saying this is a direct quote, but this is a paraphrase, and CJ, you know and I think it's pretty close. He said this was to vet the people. In other words, to see if you're worthy, if you are worthy to run for office. Guess what? By the fact you're a citizen of this country and a registered voter, you are worthy by our Constitution, because you are the government. Let the people determine if you're worthy enough to be elected to office. This whole thing's been an outrage. People go, why didn't you go to all the meetings? Because I'd rather lay in the middle of South Main Street and let trucks run over me than go to those meetings.
Those meetings were a farce.
Of course they were.
They were a joke. They were a joke. The first meeting, the gentleman from the whatever institute in Boston said it very clearly. I don't have the time to review your charter, so we're just going to write a whole brand new one. That's not what the voters voted for. And Mike Mayoza and those 7 commissioners, because Dan Robillard voted no on everything, those 7 commissioners went beyond their authority. Their authority was to review the charter, not replace it with an entirely new one. That is dictatorial, and that's what they're trying to create with this charter, a fascist regime.
Yeah. He didn't have time to go over the charter, but he had time to get a job with the Housing Authority.
That's right.
Right? So he had time. Another political hack, like Mary Sahadi, getting jobs. Once they get a job in Fall River, it's like TV series. They get spin-offs. So they get spin-off jobs.
It's like Leo Pelletier, but at least Leo Pelletier tells you.
A spin-off job. You got booted out of the council. Even though you're a non-vet, we'll put you in the veterans office.
That's right.
Oh, you're out of the veterans office, run for city council again. Okay, so you got a spin-off. So Mary Sahadi spun off Housing Authority, Swansea, Diamond Vogue. Now, this charter guy spun off into the Housing Authority. That seems to be one of the first places they go afterwards. But he didn't have time to review this charter. You know, the fact is very simple. You got that booklet? The only thing that's worthwhile reading in that book, unless you want to get frustrated, I encourage you to read it. But it is difficult reading when you read it. If you believe in a government of the people, when you start reading some of this crap. And by the way, like, the city council gets reimbursed in addition to their salary for all incidental expenses.
Sounds like the state representatives to me.
Sounds like the state reps, and sounds like they're going to make a lot. They'll never pay for another meal for the rest of their life.
That's right.
So this is what you got. But the only really good reading is, and I encourage it because it's short and succinct, is please read Commissioner Robillard's minority opinion letter, because it kind of encapsulates what we're going to be covering at length between now and the election. So,
well, I received a phone call just prior to the show going on the air in regards to the King Philip Mill, because I guess there's a lot of misinformation going on out there. So I had to review the South End Neighborhood Association video, which I have, and I'm going to actually post that video very shortly so people can watch it, where the mayor said that he will not, quote unquote, will not extend the purchase and sale agreement of the King Philip Mill to this company, because again, he got his tuchus caught in the fire. Okay, when he had it handed to him by the city council.
Too many questions being asked.
Too many questions being asked.
Time to just bulldoze the whole project.
And that's exactly what he said. He says, this is not going to end the project. What will happen is we'll go to phase 2, in which case we will demolish the building, which means the city of Fall River is going to be on the hook to pay for the demolition and the abatement. We're going to have to pay for the removal of all the hazardous waste. We're going to have to pay for the removal of the asbestos, all the debris, all the timber, all the concrete, all the granite. We're going to pay for all of that. And then we're going to sell the pristine land that's all cleaned to a developer to do what he wants at another cheap rate.
Yeah.
That we're not even going to recover what we spent on demolishing the building. We can't win with this administration. We cannot win. And this property now has a historic preservation restriction on it. So the mayor's going to have to get permission from the Historic Commission to demolish this building. Don't get me wrong. I think every mill in the city should be demolished, except one, so that's set up as a homage to the crimes that we committed, the human rights violations we committed as a community by chaining children to machines.
Yeah, well, you're right. Phase 2 is, let's do the demo that this developer was maybe doing, but do a total demolition and then give them a nice pristine property at a cheap rate. Wouldn't it be surprising if the same developer ended up with the land in phase 3?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? But look, it's election time. Forget it. Like I said, ask and you shall receive. Wasn't it like at the beginning of this process so many years ago? That's exactly what the South End wanted, to demolish that.
To demolish the building.
And then, of course, when you tell a lie big enough, Goebbels was right. People begin to believe. So they convinced the residents, or at least the residents that show up at those meetings, that it was great to keep the building. Now they're going to bulldoze it. So we're going to go back to the original. Look, that, just what we needed. Just what we needed. More of, market rate housing and loops around the pond to nowhere and all this other stuff. Yeah, look, it's election time, and as we always said, so let it be written, so let it be done. And
you're paying too many visits to the 10 Commandments.
But but that's it. I can still see Yul Brynner with his little crop. Good. So let it be written, so let it be done. Abolish the name of Moses from everything in Egypt. Well, abolish the word of anybody. The people get anything they want when it's a campaign season. Let's see what happens on November 8th. Let's see what happens. Let's see if all this, whatever you want, people, oh, you got a problem? And, of course, they're going to not continue to debate on it because the questions got a little bit too deep. It was obvious that the city didn't have answers, which they should have had.
The mayor had to leave the school committee meeting to go over there to handle the fallout from this whole mess.
Yep.
So he abdicated his responsibility at one meeting to go to a meeting he had no responsibilities at except the city administrator and his finance wizard, two Pinocchio clowns.
Yeah, well, to save them, because when you get relegated to the point where your answer is, we can't tell you. This is like classified. Really? This sounds like somebody testifying in front of Congress that, well, did you murder 8,000 people over in the Congo somewhere? I can't tell you that, Congressman. That's classified. Well, but we have to, no, that's classified. We can't tell you. We can't tell you. We can't tell you, the city council, who are representatives of the people, we can't tell you, we can't give you any information because this is secret. It's a secret. It's a secret from the people who are paying for it.
Secret agent.
That's right, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if when I go, if I spend my money on something, let's say they're working on my house and I'm paying a contractor If I ask him, what are you doing with that? What's this about? You know, on the bill, or what are you doing here? And he tells me, I can't tell you, it's a secret. Guess how long he'll be working for me?
Oh, I don't know. Half a second?
Yeah, it's a secret. It's a secret what I do with your money. This process is a secret. Everything's a secret. Oh, by the way, isn't that the guy who ran on transparent government?
That's right.
Yeah, but
it's a secret.
It's a secret, and it's either a secret or it's, you know, the 17th version of the money and the figures. So, welcome to the Riv. So we know that what's next on our?
Well, I think Marc Dion's column should be next. It's Monday. We always address Marc's column. And, you know, he wrote this about Linda Pereira, obviously. There are more ways to get in trouble in Fall River than there are to get a good job. Always been that way. Maybe it always will be that way. They're talking about Linda Pereira's nephew, who was recently arrested and charged with murder. And, you know, Marc says he holds a sign for nobody. But people do, and he's right. People in Fall River do. They hold signs. They're hoping for a job or for a favor, you know. But the most recent revelation that a Somerset man charged with first-degree murder is Pereira's nephew has brought out a herd of sign holders. How can she say she's against crime, the sign holders bellow. She hasn't spoken to this guy in 20 years, screamed the sign holders on the other side. Who cares? You don't get to choose your family. And I'm not trying to defend Councilor Pereira, okay? But you don't get to choose your family. I remember when I was running for school committee many, many years ago. Many, many years ago. And my daughter, and my big thing then was about truancy. And what does my daughter do? My daughter skips school. Great thing to do when your father's talking about truancy. You can't control what your family does. Does that mean that Linda's not a crime fighter? Does that mean Linda is not against crime? No, she can't control it. She hasn't spoken to this guy in 20 years.
And even if she did, if she spoke to him the day before, that's the whole thing. Irrelevant. I don't think that was a very good statement on her part.
No.
The fact that she doesn't speak to someone doesn't make him not her cousin. But the fact is, the fact is, what's more relevant is, look, that wasn't me. I'm sure Jeffrey Dahmer had some relatives that weren't cannibals.
Right.
I'm sure that Al Capone had relatives who weren't criminals. Maybe not a lot of them, but they were, most of them were in a family business. But the fact is that, look, this wasn't her. She is not, and I'm not going to say committed anything, because you're guilty until you're innocent until proven guilty. You know you're only guilty when in the court of public opinion during an election. So they're going to use this. They're going to use this as leverage, supposedly, against her. What she should have said is, it's got nothing to do with me. He's my cousin. So I happen to be related to him. You know, so are we responsible for every crime on earth if we believe that we are all brothers and sisters, as everybody continues in this politically correct society to try to tell us? We are all brothers and sisters. Okay, so in that case, we're all related to this guy. Yeah, so the fact is, it's like this is absolute crap.
Right,
it's got nothing to do with her as an individual.
Exactly.
And nothing to do with her candidacy. And what she should have said was, hey, yeah, you're right, he is my cousin. But it's got nothing to do with me.
Exactly. And the thing is, Marc closed this column very well. He says, if you can draw a straight, direct, factual line between Linda Pereira and this killing, do it, and do it now. By straight line, I mean quotes, dates, times, and eyewitnesses, not the classic Fall River piece of misinformation that begins with, I heard that. Because believe me, I've heard that.
We all heard it.
We've all heard it.
A lot of things.
Yeah, people. I've heard that people are, harboring fugitives from justice. I've heard that, we've
people
heard
are
that
hiding in their parents' house to hide from the feds. We've heard it all.
Yeah, we've heard it all. And guess what? We've heard that.
So,
and then he says, let's talk about water bills. So let's talk about water bills.
and you know, that was the line I was going to get to.
Yeah.
That whole column is it's about BS. And
Exactly.
that entire thing is all about BS. But at the end, he hits what we're trying to say on the show all the time. Forget about all the political BS. Let's talk about things that are important. Let's talk water bills. Let's talk tax increases. Let's talk bond issues that are going to continue to drive the economy of this city into the toilet. TIFs that we have to pick up the bill for. So now we're going to pick up TIF bills. We're going to get a debt exclusion. We're going to get a bonds for the water. We're going to get bonds for the school. We're going to give TIFs that have to be factored into our tax base. And what tax base? We've got the lowest amount of owner-occupied properties in the state already. And we're going to drive the few either into losing their houses or leaving the city. I see for sale signs all over the place. You're right, Mark. All this great setup, because what you basically told the people, in case you didn't get the moral of the story, was that it's all BS till you get to the bottom line. Let's talk what's important. Let's talk water bills.
That's right. And let's talk about water bills, because there's a $123 million bond question appearing on the ballot. You think your water bill went up now? You think that you're doubling your water bill this past, but remember, that was $17 according to Terry Sullivan. I don't see it yet. But it's going to go up again because the water and sewerage accounts are enterprise funds, which means when they bond this $123 million for 40 years or 30 years or 20 years or whatever it may be, you have to pay that fee on top of your water bill. So there'll be another line item in there that says debt service. And that's going to be on the water department, which means you as a user of water must pay for it. And you know, the thing is that renters think, oh, well, I don't pay the water bill, so I've got to worry about it. You are going to pay the water bill because the landlords are going to raise your rents. Yeah. Because I have to raise the rents if it goes up any further. Yeah. And I've been a good guy about not raising my rents. And I've even been told by my real estate broker, you're giving your apartments away.
Yeah. Well, you know, the fact is when you know, I don't know how tenants don't believe these things impact them, because obviously now we're not talking about a couple dollar increase. We're talking about 300, 400% increases in people's water bills.
Exactly.
And when that you don't think your landlord's going to pass that off to you? Are you crazy? How can he afford a 400% increase in his utilities? And while his taxes are going up too, by the way. And
it's not by 2.5%.
And remember, I see in that article in the Herald News, water main breaks causing flood in the South End. Over on Orswell Street, I believe.
Yep.
You know, of course, it caused some flooding, said Terry Sullivan, the guy who didn't get the paperwork in time to get us a grant. Oh, wait a minute, that's not in the article. Forget it. That's not verbatim. Administrator of Community Utilities, another nice euphemism title, not just the water department anymore. It's off in the age of the pipe. So there's your lead in. You see, I checked that pipe for sabotage. Maybe they're looking for this to try to make you vote for that bond issue. And I don't care how many pipes blow up. We haven't done anything to them in years. And what have I been paying a water bill for? For you to maintain the pipes. Just like we've been paying two people six-figure salaries to maintain the buildings. I'm tired of paying and getting no services, and then when everything blows up due to lack, well, why didn't we have a relining bond issue before? The hell with streetscapes. Why didn't we spend $10 million on pipes?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, but again, the rich get rich, the rich get new facades on their building, and the poor get it tucked.
That's it. So the Durfee Building Committee decided to talk about some highlights of the new Durfee building. Yeah, and here's what the public forum included. The color renderings show a 3-story building with a larger footprint than the current school. The new high school would be designed to evoke the original Durfee on Rock Street. Hey, why don't we just keep the original Durfee on Rock Street?
Why didn't we just keep it? Exactly. So it would have cost less than $240 million to renovate it, and they did. And the building is absolutely gorgeous.
Right.
You could have renovated the real building, bulldozed the old tech building, and built a new one, and still come out under what we're paying today.
Yep. So the second thing is the floor plans of each level are very similar, in other words, identical, with hallways designed to allow for a better flow of people and integrated classrooms. In other words, wider hallways. The building's design will allow for natural light to permeate the hallways. The floor plans also show that a 750-seat auditorium would be built part of the new Durfee, while the existing larger auditorium would be converted into a standalone community performing arts center. So we're going to keep it. But know this, people. The Mass School Building Association does not pay for auditoriums or pools. So we're paying for that, which we already have one. The current field house would be renovated and incorporated into the new school as well. A group of older residents expressed concerns about the fate of the current Durfee Bell Tower, which under the current design would be incorporated into the front of the new high school. Some residents noted that people have raised thousands of dollars for the existing tower and thousands of memorial bricks and benches in the surrounding plaza. Other people who spoke in favor of the new Durfee project said they believe relocating the bell tower to a new tower incorporated into the school would make them more accessible to the public and better evoke the old Rock Street School.
There we go with the evoke.
Yeah.
That must have been the word of the day, evoke. Okay.
And in an unrelated discussion, Joyce B. Rodricks, a member of the Durfee class of 1962, spoke after the Durfee presentation on the idea of moving a set of historic murals in the old Durfee Tech Auditorium. The murals were commissioned in 1936 by Works Progress Administration and painted by John E. Mann, a Florida artist, to show Florida's history. Rodricks estimated that it would cost around $3 million to clean, remove, store, reinstall, and restore the murals to the new Durfee.
Yeah,
let's piss away another $3 million.
Yeah, take a picture.
Yeah.
Take a picture of them and hang it up. Get a, you know, I mean, this is the look. There we have a bunch of, I'd like to see the average income of the people that want to blow $3 million moving murals. Well, why, again, why weren't these murals
taken care of in the first place?
But, you know, that's the great thing about government. That's why we always run out of money. That's why they keep taxing you, because there's never, ever any attempt. You build it and let it crumble, and then you charge the taxpayer to rebuild it.
Four times more.
And for 4 times more, and you give the contracts for the building to all your big campaign contributors.
That's right.
That's the way this works. And when are you going to wake up? $3 million bucks. Now you're gonna pay. Remember the $1 million? Remember the $1 million they spent on athletic fields? And I still remember some people were adamant, and the city was in financial trouble. And I remember a man who's running for city council re-election, Mr. Kilby. He was an adamant supporter, and you know, okay, he was into the athletics and stuff. Oh yeah, we need to do this. How much of those fields have been utilized? I drive up and down Ellsbury Street virtually every day. Every single day. Those fields are virtually unoccupied, and we could have done it for a lot less. The city was in financial trouble, and we urinated another $1 million away, just like now they want to urinate another $3 million to clean up paintings. Well, let's get somebody to donate that time to clean up those paintings and move them. I'll volunteer to carry a painting. Let's all carry the painting from the tech building up. We can get some volunteers to carry those paintings, and let's save the tax. Wait a minute, that's blasphemy. I'm sorry. I don't. You know, we can't save the taxpayer any money. It's anti-government to do that.
Hey, between the Charter Commission and the Durfee Building Commission, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining, because I'm telling you.
and
that's exactly what they're doing.
And remember that
over and over and over again.
Read that Minority Report. We are going to be talking about this. We're going to have basically an entire show dedicated to it.
We may have a couple of shows dedicated to it.
A couple of shows dedicated, because I'll tell you what. If you right now they're asking you, they're going to ask you for the money. You accept this charter, they're not going to ask for anything again. They're going to be like our state legislature. They get their own pay raises. They give themselves a pay raise. You don't get a tax break. You don't get a weekend without taxes. And they still get their $3 million in pay raises. Vote for this charter, and we'll make ourselves just like the Boston legislators.
Yeah, and you know, the lies are continuing on this charter, and I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to talk about it a little more, but even Mike Mioza said today on WSAR, hey, this is just the beginning of the process. No, it's not. This is the end of the process. Stop lying. People, stay angry. We'll see you on Wednesday.